Hello everybody. Let me give you some quick feedback about the recent trip we had to the United States, and particularly my talk with Ben Shapiro. I've been getting a lot of questions about that and people asking for feedback. And then I'll tell you a bit about the trip we had. Now, I'm at the airport now. I just flew 10,000 kilometers, I think, over the Atlantic. I have to take a connecting flight now to head back home, to which I'm very much looking forward. This was an extremely busy trip. It feels like I was in America for 2 months, when I think it was 2.5 weeks. It's just because we had so much to do. I think we did 5 podcasts, of which quite a few of them were very big podcasts, not just some of the biggest in America, but some of the biggest in the world, including, of course, the Shapiro one. And then we had about 12 meetings in between, and also an event, or you might say a conference, at the New York Young Republicans Club in New York City last night or 2 nights ago, which went extremely well, and we are very grateful for the New York Young Republicans for organizing that. Now, I say we because a large part of the trip I did alone, but I was joined by a delegation from Urania while I was in Washington, and also for this event in New York. And so we had some meetings together, and some of the stuff and interviews I did alone. Now, about the Shapiro interview, I think it will be published next week. Obviously, it will be on the Daily Wire, and I assume it will also be on YouTube. I will check whether the whole interview will be on YouTube or whether it will just be on the Daily Wire platform. I will check, and I will let you guys know on this channel. So if you haven't subscribed, you can do that if you want to get notified about that. We had a discussion of, I don't know, 20-30 minutes. I'm not sure how long it was. Not a long format discussion, but also not a short interview. And I thought it went very well. I think it was an incredibly well packed conversation. And what I mean by that is that it was very systematic. Obviously, Shapiro hosted the conversation and asked me some questions, but it was not just a series of questions and answers. It was a conversation about what's happening in South Africa, about state failure, about the double standards, among others, with regard to the Israel case, when the ANC government said that they are doing this because they have a very strong sense of morality, and of which they apply or live according to in a very consistent manner. So we spoke a bit about what that sense of morality for the ANC is. We spoke about the hate speech, the farm murders, the threats to property rights, and also how things and where things went wrong, because many people in America don't know much about South Africa. They knew very much back in the 90s, and then the whole world and the news media just completely shut down and everyone turned away. And now it's a shock to hear that South Africa isn't the incredible miracle story that people thought it was for the last few decades. And so he spoke a bit about the ideologies underpinning these radical movements in South Africa, especially the EFF, but also the ANC. Some parallels with America. In America, they call it DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusivity, I think. And in South Africa, we have BEE. So I explained to him that the gender stuff is much worse in America, but even though the race stuff is bad in America, it's worse in South Africa, looking at the race laws, the hate speech, and so forth. And we had a good conversation also about what could be done, not just what the problem is, but what the solution is, or what the solutions are, what the solutions could be. So all of that packed into a 15 or 20 or 30-minute interview, I'm not sure. So I thought it went very well. And I should say Ben was particularly professional, but not just that, also very welcoming and accommodating and friendly and supportive, for which I'm very grateful. So we had a good conversation also after the interview about some projects, you might say, some ideas on what could be done in the future. And we'll still continue that conversation. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Thank you for all the support. I look forward to getting back to South Africa very much. As you probably know, if you're watching this and have been watching these videos, we started the Pioneer Initiative about a week before I left for this trip. And this Shapiro interview was one of the reasons I left so quickly after announcing the initiative. So I'm looking forward to getting back and getting into the nuts and bolts of the Pioneer Initiative and structuring the organization with those of you who have signed up as contributors and supporters. So we will be engaging in the next few weeks talking about how to finalize the structure and also our plans for the future. If you haven't joined the Pioneer Initiative and you want to, I'll leave a link in the description. Have a good one.